Before the first day of school, most parents think about backpacks, lunch boxes, and schedules.
But there's another conversation that is just as important, helping kids understand that classmates will come to school with different resources, different experiences, and different family circumstances. So joining us now is 9 News parenting expert, Dr. Sheryl Ziegler. I'm so happy that we're talking about this. Very important. And kids naturally notice kind of like who has the newest sneakers or the most elaborate lunch. Why is this so important to address with our kids?
I mean, the first thing I think of is empathy, right? We want our kids to have empathy, to see differences. We're not trying to make them not see differences, be able to see differences and just see them for what they are. They're just different. They're not better or worse. And so I think it's really important. This is just one of those small nuances. And it is true. First day of school is like everything's usually, or you want it to be head to toe, everything's new. And it's not like that for everybody. And so I think it's really nice to stop and think about it now and say something like that to your kid at a natural time, maybe after you just got to buy some school supplies or buy a new pair of shoes or something. And just, you can proactively kind of put that out there. It's implanting something in their minds for some kids they would never think of.
So what happens though if it then comes into your household, if the kid comes home and says like, Mom, I noticed this person does or doesn't have cool stuff. Do you address it then and there?
Yes, definitely. I think that's a great opportunity. So whether you do or don't have this conversation, to say, you know, not everybody gets to get everything new, and that doesn't make them better or worse, or you better or worse. It's just different. And there are times when parents have told me they've had these kind of conversations with their kids where their kids do show that empathy and they say, oh, well, we have extra stuff, or those kind of things. And I think it's really beautiful because a lot of schools you can just say, hey, here's an extra bag of things we have. We don't need them. If there's anyone that you know needs them, they can have it. And I just think it's so beautiful if we can get our kids involved in that. And I think you can start that as early as when they notice, which could be kindergarten or first grade.
Mm-hmm. And if our child does overhear another kid maybe say something mean-spirited to another child about said backpack or sneakers, what advice would you give the parent to, I want my kid to be an upstander, right? So what would I tell my kid? What would they say in that moment if they feel comfortable?
I think it's really important to, teach our kids that term upstander, right? So to say to them, no matter what they're talking about, if you hear someone being mean to someone else, you have choices. Not every kid's going to confront the kid. But if they feel comfortable to say something to the kid, just simply something to say like either directly to them, you know, that's not really nice what you're saying. Or they can also just say, hey, you know, so-and-so, hey, little kitty, why don't you come with me? Let's go do something, and just redirect the situation. And then also just say to the kid, I'm sorry someone said something mean like that. They just don't understand, right? Something really basic and simple, but it's like for that kid, it's this feeling of I feel seen. And this is so important and helpful for me. And there's a third option, of course, you can say to your kid, which is if you don't feel comfortable doing either of those things, go tell an adult. Let them know what you overheard. Say, I wasn't comfortable saying anything, but I think it hurt their feelings, and I just wanted to let you know. So teaching our kids, like being an upstander means just having power and agency to do something.
Let me ask, same vein, right? Same topic, but a little different, because I feel like my now 6-year-old going into first grade, getting a little entitled, getting a little used to all the new and all of this and all of that. And I'm like, girlfriend, I don't think you know how lucky and how blessed you are.
Same.
How do you have that conversation with your kids?
Yes, it is a good question. And because I'm comfortable with the two of you, I'm going to let you know.
Yes.
It starts at home with you two. Right? Sometimes people will say, oh my God, my kid's entitled, or they act like a spoiled brat. And I'm like, but how did they get that way? They weren't born that way.
It's my fault. I knew it.
This is one time I'm going to say we have to look in the mirror at ourselves, right? And this is where, and I do this, I do practice this. This is where you say, maybe I can get the new pair of shoes and the new sneakers and the new backpack. And just kind of purposely, you just say, I'm going to hold one of those things off. You can even say something like, you know what? After the first day of school, those things go on sale. We're going to come back. So that they get it in their head, we wait for sales, or we don't get everything we want right now, right? Or you can, like I'll say to my kids, you can get a new backpack every other year. You don't need a new one every year. Is it a little dirty? Yep, we'll wash it. Hey, let's go bring it upstairs and wash it. But it's usually pretty good. So it's those things. And even if I feel like I could spend the X amount of money for a new backpack, I just don't. because the truth is they don't need it. It is a want, it is a desire. So really, parents, let's look at ourselves in the mirror and find little spots. It's not to be mean, but it is to kind of have a kid who has gratitude and who realizes, I work for this, we work for this, and it just doesn't all come flowing to you. Delayed gratification, remember, it's a factor, a psychological factor that we see kids do better in life when they can delay getting things in the moment. So that's how I see getting the new 10 things. Maybe you get a few out of those. You don't get all of them. You get them throughout the year or next year.
I love that. I needed to hear that.
Me too.
Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Ziegler, thank you.
You're welcome.